Healthcare and Financial Services will come to order. Welcome, everyone, and without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time. I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. Welcome to the Subcommittee on Healthcare and Financial Services. To the witnesses, thank you very much for your attendance and participation today in today's oversight hearing of the FDA's response to the infant formula shortage. Today, we will hear from food safety experts to better understand how this crisis happened, how it could have been handled better, and determine whether the FDA is able to prevent a future crisis from occurring. As many of you know, I've been outspoken in my frustration with the FDA's response to the infant formula shortage. The infant formula crisis underscores a major problem with the FDA. The FDA is responsible for 78% of the U.S. food supply, but the FDA is not prioritizing food safety. Instead of owning its failures, the FDA has used COVID-19 as an excuse to neglect inspections and justify poor performance. While states like Michigan were shut down, preventing Michiganders from making a living, the federal government was 100% open and was paying too many of its employees to stay home and not do their jobs adequately. How did this critical shortage happen? Well, let's go back to the beginning. In the summer of 2021, the FDA was aware of a significant supply chain disruptions resulting in potential shortages of several types of infant formula. By September 21, the Abbott Nutritional Infant Formula plant in Sturgis, Michigan, had not been inspected in 2 years. This plant produces 20% of the nation's supply of baby formula. Then in October, an Abbott whistleblower submitted a 34-page complaint to the FDA outlining the concerns at the Sturgis facility. Despite this whistleblower and several reports of babies becoming sick, it took until January 31st of 2022 for the FDA to begin inspecting the Sturgis plant. A couple weeks later, Abbott voluntarily recalled its product and voluntarily shut down its Sturgis plant. Had the FDA or the administration done anything to prepare for the closure or ensure the availability of infant formula across the country? No, they had not. The health of vulnerable infants that rely on formula is a single food source that was not a priority. Today, we have more information that we didn't have before. We know that the FDA ignored the Abbott's employees' 34-page disclosure detailing concerns about the Abbott facility in Sturgis. We know that the FDA's telework policy and the lax approach to oversight left it unprepared to address the shortages when the Sturgis facility was shut down. Americans are tired of excuses like blaming COVID-19 or claiming there isn't enough money in the budget while inspectors telework and fail to do their job. FDA regulators were paid to do a job but chose not to use its remote inspection authority, which was specifically intended by Congress to ensure FDA could prevent this type of crisis. They did not do their job and collected a paycheck on the backs of hardworking Americans. Americans want accountability, especially as it pertains to their children. Today, we are going to conduct a long overdue oversight of the FDA's response to the infant shortage formula. We're going to determine the extent of the internal failures within the FDA that led to the crisis, and we're going to discuss ways that the FDA can actually improve its internal controls to prevent a supply chain crisis of this magnitude from happening again. We're also going to examine whether the FDA proposed restructuring will improve its ability to keep food safe. We owe it to parents, caregivers, and infants to get to the bottom of what happened and, most importantly, prevent it from happening again, because nothing has changed. We owe it to the families of the babies that died as a result of this contaminated formula. So thank you to our witnesses, and we look forward to hearing your testimony. And I now yield to Ranking Member Ms. Porter for her opening statement.